Hey, I'm live. Not so sure about the cat. She was up. Well, you are alive. For a minute there, I thought she'd climbed up here and perished. But anyway, I got another stove. I just had to have one. As if that one isn't enough in my other stove, I got one more. And one kind of cool thing that I didn't get, but I'll show you that too. You settled in, or are you gonna cause problems? But anyhow, got the cat here. She's out cold, hopefully for a while, because otherwise I'm sure she's going to wake up and cause all kinds of problems. But here we got Ronald Coward here, Cynthia Wesley, howdy, Larry Perkins, Mike Sieber, Honey Badger's here. Did the cat get a stove? Yes, she did. We'll see if she can actually learn how to cook on it. William Hurt, he's here. Cynthia Wesley getting rattled by thunder. Had a little bit of weather here this weekend. Snow and ice, like you usually get in April. It's going to rain again tonight with more snow and ice and then more rain. Generally kind of miserable for the next day or two, but nothing too overly severe. So let's see here. We got Flash here. Corey, he's around somewhere. Raymond's downsizing. That's not too bad of an idea. Not sure. Almost have 1,000 pieces. Don't sell anything, but that's your plan. Yeah, I thinned out some of them, but I still got quite a pile of stuff that I was kind of planning on getting rid of, but haven't got around to yet. There's definitely some that I'll hang on to. Let's see here. Oh, Raymond might have been downsized, and he still managed to pick up a colonial orange enamel Griswold breakfast skillet for $25 and a chrome lid, number 4. Plus $25 for a chrome lid and number 4 skillet for a Chicago Hardware Foundry lid. Those are all cool. Anyway, what else we got here? I think that's about everybody, at least that's showing up so far. Get caught back up to where we left off. Cast iron case. So you say a moose bit your sister? Yeah, it was a Swedish moose too. They're vicious, them Swedish mooses. Partly crappy with continued crappiness expected. Yeah, it's usually the way it is in spring in Wisconsin. I mean, one year from about early March until the end of April, every day was the same forecast. It's going to be cold and shitty today and tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow it's going to start turning nice. Well, the day after tomorrow would get there, of course, and it would be the same forecast. It's going to be cold and shitty today and tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, and yeah, that kept up for weeks. And I think they did that mostly to keep the suicide rates down, because by about March you had about enough of the winter already, and the idea of having to face some more is just a little bit more than most people can take sometimes. Let's see, is that cat alive? I'm not sure. She kind of moves, but I'm not sure if it's me moving her or if she actually did succumb to the stress of climbing up here and it was just more than she could bear and up and perished on me. But anyhow, I'm going to show you the thing that I didn't get. It cost too much money and I wasn't really looking for it. You know, if I could have got it cheap enough, I would have. But let me get this shared. Share screen. Hopefully I should be able to scroll through this. I'll allow that. There we are. Saw this at a local auction. A number 13 Griswold. Not a very common skillet. Pretty rare, in fact. But it has a welded handle. Let me get down here. Where's my cursor? Get down near the screen view. There it is. The price realized wasn't uploaded, but I was watching it. It sold for $365, which is cheap for one of these. There's one right now on eBay that's in really nice condition. They want $5,000 for it. They're not going to get that much, but I'd be willing to bet that $2,500 would definitely sell for that. Yeah, it's definitely a rare skillet. It's a bit more rare than that even because get a picture of the back of it here. Yeah, those are scrolling through. This ain't just a Griswold. That is a slant logo, number 13 Griswold. So yeah, there's a huge demand for these. They're a rare skillet to begin with, and yeah, they go for tons of money. And like I said, the one on eBay, it's a slant logo just like this, and he wants $5,000 for it. Like I said, you're probably not going to get that, but $2,500 I could definitely see you going for. But anyway, this had me get back to some of the pictures of the handle here. The handle had been broken off and welded back on. Not actually a bad job of it. Looks like it was stick welded. You can smooth this out a bit more, and it kind of looks like, I didn't see this in person, but it kind of looks like there's a crack running right about here that looks like it goes through to the inside. And there's a couple of more cracks that I think are welded up good on the outside, but might not have burned all the way through. Yeah, that's repair work around the handle. That's welded back on. Like I said, it sold for $365, which is dirt cheap for something like this. Even with a broken handle, they can easily go for more than that. Or not. Sometimes even if it's a rare skillet with that much damage to it, it doesn't generate a lot of interest, and they go fairly cheap. I bid on it. I've ran it up to $150, but like I said, it's not something I'm really looking for. But it can either go cheap, or you can have somebody that desperately needs to fill that one hole in their collection, so they're willing to pay a hell of a lot more for it. And that's what it worked out to be. Figure they'd get this now and maybe upgrade some other day if they come across a better one. The inside isn't too bad. I mean, you can see the weld there. Kind of smooth it up a little bit. Like I say, I think there's another crack right here that didn't quite get repaired. It's kind of hard to see in the picture, but that was something definitely interesting. I don't know if I would have got it. I don't know if I would have done much with it. Depends on how bad that the other crack was. But yeah, it could have definitely smoothed it up a little bit. Kind of blended out the weld some without causing too much problem with it. But yeah, if there's more cracks, and it looks like it's welded good. Somebody actually knew what they were doing. It looks like it was stick welded, just to my eyes, is what that looks like the results you get with a stick welder. They probably used a high nickel rod because it doesn't look like there's any cracking alongside the welds, which is where they'll usually crack. I get my microphone a little closer, which is where they'll crack if you use a regular mild steel rod and try and weld cast iron. So, it looks like a decent enough repair. But yeah, it's a really rare skillet. And the slant logo, there's a hell of a demand for any slant logo Griswold, much less the number 13. They didn't make a whole lot of them, and unlucky 13. They were kind of not really popular when they were made, but they are now because they're so damn rare. Yeah, it's not too bad of a repair overall. I mean, it's not. I've seen some really nasty looking welds, but overall, it looks fairly decent. And but yeah, $365 was more than I was willing to pay for it because I don't really need it. Not that I would pass one up that wasn't broken for the same price, just because they're so damn rare. Anyway, let me get this off you here, and I'll show you the thing that I did get. Stop screen. There I am. You're going to stay settled down for a while, ain't you? Back up a little bit here. You're going to go live after me again, but the wife's sick and a close friend passed away. Oh, that's a shame. So you got to get ready to go to Austin for the service. Let's see here, what else? I got to try and get some water in me without disturbing the cat too much. Because I really don't want to wake her up if I don't have to. Put up with the cat running amok. Uh-oh. She's showing signs of life. Anyway, let me get back here to the end of the comments. Looks more like JB Weld. Yeah, no, that's definitely a weld. It's an old. It looks like an older repair. I mean, the repair is rusted some, and it's not too bad of a weld job on it. Could have smoothed it out and blended it in a little better, but the actual welding on it is pretty decent. Have I figured out the cast iron welding? Yeah, I'm definitely getting better at it. I got still got to fix Billy Lee's pan. I'll get to that hopefully soon. I'd be afraid to get it clean it up, and the cracks will go through while you're seasoning it. Yeah, like I said, there kind of looked like there was a crack in there. If I was gonna get it, I would have went up on the inspection day and had a look at it in person just to see exactly what was going on. But like I say, I wasn't really that interested in buying it unless it went for next to nothing. But what I did get, reach over here, is I got myself a new stove. Whoops. It even came with some pans. Let me get them down here. The cat is not making this any easier. I have to do everything one-handed. But I got myself a new stove. Not a very big stove, but a new stove nonetheless. That's a Superior. It's a model of a gas stove. You can only find one picture of one quite like this. Anyway, try and get a decent grip on it, not lose the cat. You can only find one that was exactly like this. Found a couple of slightly different ones. One that didn't have the little warming oven on the side, and it was just a two-burner stove. But this should have a back across the back of it, and it's missing the door off the little warming oven there. But the oven door works, and it's got a latch in it. And this little side shelf comes off. I cleaned that up a little bit with some SOS pads. It cleaned up pretty good. The pictures of it looked a lot rustier than it actually is. And it looks a little bit rustier on camera here. But the coolest part of this is, you see that little nert on the end? That's where you hook up a rubber hose to run, the actual gas burner inside. Yes, this is a functional stove. It's got vent holes in the bottom so you can get air through to the gas burner. And yeah, you'll have an actual fire on that when I get it cleaned up. I don't think I'll repaint it. The paint ain't bad. Few little rust spots here. And I'll just take some steel wool and clean up that nickel plated stuff. Clean the top off. Like I said, the little side shelf I did looks pretty good. A little shinier. There it goes. But yeah, that I paid $40 for that, and I think it's definitely worth it. I'll get that cleaned up good. But it came with 4 little pans. It has I ain't sure if that's nickel or chrome plated long griddle. And these are a little nicer than a lot of the toy size skillets that come with these stoves, or especially the new toy stoves, the more modern reproductions. And there's a griddle for it, and it's got a little Dutch oven. It's got the actual style of the little Griswold style ears on it. It's got the eccentric or the step down base on it. And that's a nice little Dutch oven. No lid for it, but it's pretty cool. And two little skillets. I got one little one spouter. They didn't grind off the gate on that. They just snapped it off. Nice little one spout skillet. There's the back of it. I'll show you the handle. And like I say, these are a lot nicer than most of the other ones. And this is really nice. They're a little bigger skillet. And don't start. A little bigger skillet, and you can see the back of it. Kind of looks like a BSR handle on the back almost, but it's got that curve to it. That is a really nice little miniature skillet. And yeah, when I get that cleaned up and fired up, we'll have to light her off just to show you that. But yeah, that's from the 1920s. Like I said, I found a couple of them. One didn't have the warming oven on the side, but it should have a back to it. And I found one that was just a single burner stove, a little smaller one, and they also made later on. They made an electric version of that, so that's pretty cool, I thought. But yeah, $40 was a pretty good price for that. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any prices for what they were selling for. And like I said, I only saw the one that was the same model. But that is just cool as hell. And yeah, like I say, those are a lot nicer than the little miniature skillets that usually come with them. That's a little bit smaller. I got a couple of toy Wagner skillets from about 1910 or so. And this is a little bit smaller than those. But yeah, they're pretty nice little things. The supper will be getting smaller at my house. Yeah, I can definitely cook some small things with that. Need to check the Dutch oven for lead. Yeah, I'll do that before I start cooking with it. A square egg pan to work on that stove. Yeah, it's a two burner stove. It's got one burner, but there's only holes on two sides of it. So yeah, it's pretty slick little deal. I can't wait to get that cleaned up and fired up. Minnie gonna fry some varmints. Yeah, she actually starts doing something useful and catching mice. She can fry them up on the stove when she gets them. Is that an old store sample? Yeah, I'm not sure if that would really be considered a salesman sample, or if that's just a just a working toy type of stove. It could be either or. I know Favorite made they consider it a salesman sample, but it's a working wood stove about that size. It's got a real nice blue enamel on it, and those go for a lot of money. Those go for $1,500 or so when you come across them. I think there's a picture of that on the back of either the blue book or the red book. On the back cover, they have a picture of one of those, and yeah, they go for some big money. I don't think these ones go for quite as much, but they're still definitely an uncommon one. I wonder how many kids use one to burn the house down. Well, probably a couple. What kind of gas was used? More likely natural gas. because a lot of the a lot of the two burner, like the Griswold gas stoves, they're made to be hooked up with a hose to a gas valve, in your wall or something like that. And and so yeah, that's set up for a little rubber hose, and you would hook it up to your natural gas. If the kids didn't burn themselves or set the house on fire, they're guaranteed to get tetanus from the skillets. Such a cute kitty. Yeah, she's cute when she's behaving, so I'm gonna do the best I can. I have an operational toy wood burning cresser from the 20s. That's cool. Pequa made the dolly stoves. Yeah, I think that's the one I was talking about earlier. Sure, wake up and attack, you vicious little beast. You know what that gets you. There. Just gotta be a cat. Anyhow, yeah, I was tickled to death to get that thing, so I hope she's not sick. No, she's plenty healthy enough. You saw her wake up and get violent right away. If you met the love of your life and they demanded to get rid of all your cast iron, would you do it? Well, if they did, they wouldn't be the love of my life now, would they? She got overstimulated. She's easily overstimulated. She generally attacks just for the hell of it. No good reason, but cats are like that. She's a violent sociopath, and pretty much any cat is, at least any cat worth having. Many had the choice. Many had the choice. Her choice is violence or violence. Yeah, it's pretty much it. The dolly stoves are fake more than the Indian head #4. Yeah, I don't doubt it. For going for that kind of money, I'm sure there's quite a bit. Having spam withdrawals. Yeah, I'll have to get her a can of spam and throw it in with her cat food next time I go shopping. But anyway, now that the cat's out of my way, and since I don't have to work tonight, I can have me a drink. But I don't have a glass handy, so I'll just take it right from the bottle. If anybody asks to get rid of your cast iron, then they're a stranger to me. Yeah, if you don't love my cast iron, you don't love me. Let's see here. My cats don't bite me often. She doesn't bite hard. I mean, she knows better than to bite down too hard because that gets her launched if she surprises me. I actually ended up throwing her damn near in the bathroom once because I was sitting here watching something and she just jumped up and bit me on the side of the shoulder, and I just went like that, and she wasn't hurt. She landed on the dirty clothes, but kind of scared me a little bit. Didn't mean to launch her quite that far. Yeah, she doesn't bite real hard, but she's just got to dig her claws in and get a hold before she takes a bite. That, and she has all the grace and agility of a brick. She'll try and jump up on here, get halfway up the arm of the chair, and have to finish clawing her way up by grabbing a hold of me. You want to play with the stove over there now, cat? That ridiculous little beast. Anyway, right out of the bottle, hell yeah. But what else? I was going to say something else here tonight. Yeah, I should be able to. Well, Billy Lee's going to have to wait a little bit longer on getting her pan welded up. I usually got a little faster turnaround than this, but Got some other things going on. So I should get it back to you within by the end of next week, I would think. Where are you going now? Don't step on my mouse and shut something off. Turn the keyboard off. Yeah. Yeah, she always managed to catch me before I can turn the keyboard off too, jumping on that and doing all manner of things to the computer. Don't start. I'm trying to pet you. Flicking that tail around. You ain't fooling anybody being nice now. Stop it. Listen, you. Very pretty, shiny cat. Yeah, she's a pain in the ass, though. 72 in the chat and only 27 likes. Oh, that ain't bad. I usually forget to hit like buttons on things that I'm watching, too, so I can't complain too much about people not doing it here. Asparagus is starting to grow. Not around here yet. It's not even starting to. Trees aren't even starting to bud yet, and a lot of the ground is still frozen. Maple sap is running. Probably getting towards the end of that, actually. But that's about it for life in the out in nature right now. There's not a whole lot going on yet. Got sandhill cranes back in and the geese. A bunch of ducks. They've been hanging around for the last week or so. Thumbs up like indicators never accurate, showing 7 here. Yeah, it doesn't really update all that correctly. You know, sometimes it'll keep right up, and sometimes it takes 5-10 minutes for it updates the next time. Folks around here just finished up making syrup. Yeah, it's pretty much winding down around here, but you know, like I said, it was going on, but it should usually kind of wraps up towards the beginning of April. You know, it really depends a lot on the weather. I think they got a little bit of an earlier start on it than they normally do this year. Still looking for the hummingbirds. I haven't had any of them here yet, so they'll be probably in a couple of weeks. They'll actually hummingbirds will actually come in quite a bit earlier than any sort of flowers or anything else, and they'll follow woodpeckers around where the woodpeckers peck holes in the bark of trees. They'll drink the sap that bleeds after the woodpeckers are done. Is there a little pressurized tank on that to regulate the gas? No, there's just a not the cat's out of the way, I can grab it. There's just a little connector there that you'd hook a rubber hose to. But I can use a couple of different things. I got a adjustable gas regulator for a big propane tank that you can run right down to nothing, or I can take apart a propane torch, a little propane torch, and use that for the orifice and regulator. Shouldn't be too much of a difficulty to get it going. I'm gonna give you a little better look at the burner inside underneath the grates there. You can just see the holes in it. Maybe not, but yeah, that's a pretty slick little deal. And then through the inside, you see there's holes in the bottom so it can breathe, get gas or air to the burner. And a little latch works on the door to more or less keep it locked. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, there's a little bit of rust spots on the front, but the rest of it is pretty clean. So I don't think I'm going to repaint it or anything. I'll just clean this up with a little bit of steel wool. Other than that, yeah, they're pretty. It's a pretty cool little deal. Just filled your first feeder tonight, Central Pennsylvania. Yeah, you're a fair bit south of where we are. Got rhubarb coming up, horseradish, chives, garlic. Now it's going to be a while before we get that. Usually don't start seeing rhubarb sprout till the end of into the end of April usually. Told to put out feeders on tax day for hummingbirds. Yeah, like I said, they show up a lot earlier than you would think. You know, if you got a feeder out fairly early, they'll definitely come to it. But yeah, they'll follow woodpeckers around and drink the sap before you get anything else. I was thinking you use a Coleman stove tank. Maybe. You know, it's the same sort of valve as on most little propane torches. Yeah, pileated woodpeckers there. Yeah, they're huge. We got them around here too. They're quite the animal. I mean, hell, they're a good foot tall. You know, especially when I see them up close. I've had them up on my suet feeders, and yeah, they're quite the sight. Uh, had morels in Terrible Holt already. Nothing in north central Indiana. We get some morels around here. They're a lot more common down around La Crosse, down in the Coulee region. You know, south and west of here. You do find a few of them around here, but yeah, they're do a little bit better more in the southern part of the state. Liked your videos, the video on pileated woodpeckers. Yeah, I've had a couple of them over the years where I've caught them on my feeders, and one where they attacked a dead tree along the by the dead end road, and later on the tree fell over and took out the power because all the trees along here they do a real good job of keeping the right of ways cleared as best they can. But all the trees on both sides of the road are tall enough that if a tree falls over, it's going to hit the power lines. I was talking about the old gas tanks, not the new propane ones. Yeah, it might work. I mean, I think it'd take a bit more adapting for for a Coleman tank because they usually have a generator the to vaporize the gas better. So you kind of need the fire to heat up the gas to generate to vaporize it better. I'm pretty sure I can rig up something with propane that wouldn't be too dangerously explosive. Get morels in the spring and puffballs in the fall. White mushrooms all summer. Yeah, we get a lot of puffballs around here. Use a Bunsen burner regulator. Pretty much, I know what you talk about. I don't have a lab type gas valve, but it's the same principle for that. And I should be able to, like I said, use a. What are you doing down there, cat? It's not enough that you're in a box. You got to try and eat it from the inside. Anyway, but yeah, the valve on a propane torch should work. We'll see how it goes once I get to that stage, get it cleaned up enough. Seen pileated woodpeckers in deep Georgia mountains. They're about 3.5 foot tall. Not quite that big, but they are damn impressive birds up close. You have a cardboard eater too. Yeah, she's trying to eat the box from the inside. Ridiculous cat. You end up with no beard. You know what happened? Yeah, no beard and no eyebrows. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone, but the sandhill cranes are outside making noise. They're damn big birds too. I mean, they stand, 3.5, 4 foot tall, even taller sometimes. But there's a pair that hangs around here. I've seen them with young in the summer. Kind of up on the out in the woods a little bit. So it's nice to have them around. And of course, there's geese that nest here every year. Do you hear them? Yeah, I wasn't sure if the mic would pick them up, but you could hear them over the cat. Your backyard is full of geese. Yeah, we get quite a few here too. There'll usually be about 6 or 8 of them that settle in for the summer, and they'll nest here. But in between, spring and fall when they're passing through, you get quite a bunch of them. Do I cook anything in my cast iron in the spring and summer? Yeah, I just don't. I don't use the wood stove, but I just use it on my electric stove. Maybe she needs some roughage. Well, she gets plenty of it. Or at least she's getting plenty of it right now. We have the largest sandhill migration, have thousands of them in one area. Yeah, we don't get quite that many of them, but they do. In the fall, you see quite just pretty good sized flocks of them. There's a merganser nest in a big willow tree each year. I think it might be one of her chicks that took over her nest. That could be. We get mergansers here, wood ducks, mallards. Spring and fall, there's always a couple of oddball ducks that you can never quite get a good enough look at them to identify, but they're something that you don't normally see. But we usually get 3 or 4 pair of wood ducks that nest around here, which is nice. They're real pretty ducks, them wood ducks. Your creek gets blue herons. Yeah, we get blue herons too. Get all kinds of things. Because where I live, I got the lake out on this side and a smaller pond on the other side of the house. And then we're in the woods, and there's a little kind of meadow off, 100 or so yards away. So there's a little bit of a clear area. So we get a lot of different birds. I sat down and made a list of them one day, just all the ones that I'd seen over the years. I came up with like 65 different birds between the water birds and the other kinds of birds around here. So yeah, we get a lot of different kinds. We get blue herons. We had a few green herons around. They're kind of a weird little bird. They got a long neck. They're not real big, but they got a long neck, and they got bright orange feet that kind of dangle underneath them when they're flying. Any info on old 1924 pressure cookers? I know a bit about pressure cookers, but some of the really old ones, aren't the safest to use necessarily. Some of them you can still get parts for. There's what's pressurecookerparts.com, and they have a lot of parts for them, gaskets and weights and things like that for them. It even came with the info. Yeah, I do have one old pressure cooker. It's from the late 30s, early 40s. and it's a kind of the hell, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a fairly heavy enameled steel pot, and it has a thin cast iron lid. And when you crank down a knob in the middle, it flexes the lid and seals on the bottom side of the rim of the pot. And apparently, the company that made that got a big contract with the Navy during World War II to make that style of pressure cooker for the Navy. And that's one of the things that kind of kicked off household pressure cookers in the U.S. because they got used a lot in World War II. A lot of people came home and said, hey, these things are really cool. And they took off from there. You have a number 7 All-American. It's from the 30s. He even came with its manual. I think the oldest one I have is a number 7 Presto, probably from early 50s, I think it is. And that one's still usable. They got a Miro from the late, I think that one's from 1980. That one is, because a lot of the Miros, they had an actual date on the bottom. They have a little triangle of numbers. It'll say 680. That means it was made in June of 1980. And I think that's what the Miro is. You have a couple of 60s Presto pressure canners. You can still get the gaskets. Yeah, you can get parts for most of the Presto pressure canners. Can't imagine using a pressure cooker on a submarine. They probably did. They definitely used them on the bigger ships because it let them get away with using a lot, tougher, cheaper cuts of meat. And you could pressure cook them up fast, and tenderized some otherwise pretty rubbery beef that wouldn't be much use otherwise. Farmer house near Spencer, Indiana still has turtle meat embedded in the popcorn ceiling from a vintage pressure cooker experiment. Wife still brings it up now and then. Yeah, when they started getting real popular in the 50s, one of the problems they had with pressure cookers is they started making them cheaper and cheaper. And a lot of them, the really cheap ones, they did away with the blowout plug, which is a little rubber plug that'll blow out if the pressure gets too high. And the only way they had to vent it was through the little vent stem that you set your weight on. Well, the problem is if you were cooking something in there, if you're canning, everything's inside jars in theory. But if you're cooking a chunk of meat, you can get stuff boiling up and it'll plug that. Don't start. And it'll plug that your vent stem and build up too much pressure. And if it was made cheap to begin with, yeah, there were some cases of just don't. There were some cases of older pressure cookers exploding because they weren't made very well. And if you try and take the lid off while there's still steam pressure in there, it'll definitely launch that lid. So always make sure the pressure is completely gone before you try and get the lid off. Being photobombed and being attacked, viciously and brutally attacked. Yeah. Don't start. You are just a savage little beast, ain't you? And if you're going to start that, you're definitely going to go down on the floor. Start clawing at me. Oh, yeah, look at me like I did something wrong. Pressure cookers, not canners. Yeah, there's a difference between cookers and canners. Does she have any cat friends? No, but she can. If she keeps it up, I'll throw her ass back outside with the feral cats. Put you back where you came from. Let's see. National, it used to be National Presto, and eventually became just Presto, and they're based close by. Hey, listen, you. They're based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, not terribly far from me, and they've been around for forever. Although actually the National Presto plant in Eau Claire never actually made any pressure cookers. They were always a munitions plant. They made shell casings for artillery guns. Pretty much the entire time that the plant there existed, they always made the pressure cookers elsewhere. But the corporate headquarters is still in Eau Claire. Listen, you. Oh yeah, come up here and act all cuddly now, and you know damn well as soon as I pet you, you're gonna bite. You ain't fooling nobody. Yeah, see? Now, if you behave, you get scratches. Get scratches and pets and get treated nice. If you act nice. Hey, you know better than that. Down with you again. She wants to be a YouTube star. Yeah, I think more people are probably watch for the cat than they do for me. Is there a market for old pressure canners? Some, there's they're, like I said, there's pretty interesting old ones. If it's in good shape, there's definitely interest in them. I don't know, how much they go for. I mean, the price on new ones, newer ones and ones that are definitely usable has shot up since 2020. There was a big shortage of them for a while, and the prices really took off. You used to be able to buy a new 23 quart Presto for about $75-$80, and now they're going for about twice that. They came down some. I think they're going for about 130, 140 now, usually. And when they say 23 quarts, it's not that you can put 23 quart jars in it. It means if you filled the pot all the way to the top, it would hold 23 quarts of water. Give her a string to chase. She needs to play. Yeah, when we get done here, I'll grab the cat laser and chase her around with that for a while and see if I can burn off some of the energy. Buy the kitty some white mice. I've got some little jingly balls. She loves them, but they only last about 2 minutes before she'll slap them underneath something where she can't find it. And doesn't get a whole lot of playtime out of them before she loses them. The first job was at KFC, and the original chicken was cooked in a big pressure cooker, and the crispy was cooked in an open fryer. I knew the original crispy was pressure cooked. I didn't know they just deep fried the extra crispy. Cat's driving me a drink. Yes, she is. Just can't deal with the stress of the cat causing me all this much grief. What the hell have you got now? She's got something bigger in a box anyway. Have you seen the robot puppies? I don't know if I've seen the robot puppies you're talking about. I've seen some of those nightmarish Boston Dynamics robot dogs they got. They're kind of a headless dog with legs that both face the opposite direction. Weird looking little things. On TikTok, they're like live and spooky. The robot rabbits. Yeah, I haven't seen robot rabbits either. Does she ever bat at your face when she's being feisty? Usually not. I mean, once in a while she'll get a hold of my beard, but she doesn't go after my face anyway. Hey Billy Lee, cool little stove. Yeah, that's like I said, I'm tickled with that thing. We'll get it cleaned up and fired up here before too long. Do you know when Griswold made the number 88 short name high base waffle iron? I assume they started the high bases late 20s or 30s. I think they started them a bit earlier than that, more like the mid teens into the early 20s. And I know for the square, that high base square waffle iron I have, that Wagner, that's a 1892 patent on that. So the idea of the high base at least was around before then. But I think mostly the commercial ones, like the square waffle irons, usually had the high base. But yeah, I think they started them a bit earlier than that. I'd say probably 1910, 1915 they started. At least some of them did. I don't know about Griswold necessarily. All critters are staying away from your house due to the family of foxes under your shed. Well, at least you don't have any excess critters around. Handsome Stone's heading out. Talk to you next time. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure the high bases were around earlier than that. Forgot about the high base on square. Yeah, and like I say, most of the square ones were more, more restaurant, hotel, uh, commercial type ones. But I'd say they're definitely a bit earlier than that. So yeah, 1910, 15, probably in there somewhere. I'd have to look and see, what the earliest patent date with a high base is, and they're not always necessarily going to be the correct base for it too. They get changed around over the years a lot of times too. So anyway, let's see here. So robot bunnies are selling fast to people, little kids. Yeah, you don't have to feed them or potty train them. That's handy. But of course, you might not be able to trust them. They're probably a Chinese spying device trying to gather information. Hopefully, they'll end up in a house somewhere, somebody working for the CIA, and they can pick up secrets through the robot bunnies. Robot wives, too. That's what your husband would say. Yeah, everything's a conspiracy. So everything's a conspiracy and the world is out to get us. That's why you don't have Wi-Fi in the house. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things you take for granted, if you put any kind of thought into it all, it's really easy to track things, to basically bug your house with cell phones. I mean, everybody has a cell phone, and they're not terribly hard to manipulate, where you can just turn the damn microphone on and listen in, and you wouldn't necessarily know anything about it. If you're not careful, they'll just text you some of those secrets. Yeah, it's a lot easier when high government officials just invite everybody into a text call and tell them what's going on. I'm making any sauerkraut. I got to make some more here pretty soon. Usually spring is the best time for me to do it because the I don't need to fire up the wood stove as much, and the house is a little more stable temperature, and it doesn't get too terribly hot. And yeah, I seem to get my best results this year, so I should probably get a batch going. Paranoid? Just because you're paranoid don't mean they ain't out to get you. The trick of it is it's okay to be paranoid, you know, but don't really care all that much about it. They listen to my son and I were talking about a new product, and right after that, we got ads for that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that. You'll search for something on Google, and all of a sudden, everywhere you go, there'll be ads for what you just searched for. So, bug mine so they can see all your bills and pay them. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to listen in, they might as well do something useful for you. If you're that damned interesting to them, you'd think they'd throw you a little bone now and then. Got to watch Alexa. She can listen. She can listen if the settings aren't off. Yeah, I've seen some stories that they're changing it so even if you do have the settings off, they can still listen in on Alexa. Only if I was rich, I'd worry. I'd bore them with my poor people problems. Yeah, I mean, most people aren't really all that interesting. That'd be worthwhile to listen in all the time. I mean, this is pretty much the most interesting, exciting thing that I do in the average week, and you know, we're broadcasting it in public anyway. You listen to Bill and I get put in the loony bin. Yeah, you couldn't pay me to have Alexa. Yeah, I mean, I barely have a cell phone. Usually, it's out in the car, turned off because I don't use the damn thing that much. Still waiting for Pelosi to send you info on the stock market. I should get around to you. Don't worry about it. God. Sometimes you think they're doing tests on you. I hear the wife was talking to her sister, had Alexa, and then she went to hang up. Said my wife's name, and Alexa said it back to your wife. The wife's sister unplugged it right after that. Use Alexa for timers and play Pink Floyd. Yeah, technology is going to be the ruin of us, and here we are using technology, so might as well just embrace the cyber overlords and be done with it. Got to drive home. Well, thank you very much for showing up, and good night to you too. And it's just about time to say good night to everybody while we're at it. Next week, I should have a show. I don't see any reason why not. Might find something a little bit more exciting. The last couple of shows just been kind of hanging out, chattering, and might have some other things to show. Hopefully, I'll get enough time to get a fire lit on my new stove. That ought to be fun. your daughter and I just make things up and see if they come up in the ads. Yeah, you might as well have some fun with the technology that's watching you. You got to go on the TV so you're life size. Oh, cool. Anyhow, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later, and we'll do something next week. Should be moderately entertaining, if nothing else. Like I say, hopefully I'll have enough time to get that little stove cleaned up and get something going for a fire on it. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Ought to be a little fun. Anyway, we'll wrap her up here, and I'll see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the show, and good night.